Welcome to another episode of Beautiful, Bad and Bizarre. Today we're here at Downs Crematorium in Brighton to remember the life of the wonderful actress that gave me so much pleasure. I just absolutely love her, Dora Bryan.
Excuse me, honey, I got some business to discuss with this guy.
Friendly, isn't he?
Hiya, Con. Get rid of that.
Who the hell do you think you're calling that?
Born Dora May Broadbent on the 7th of February 1923 in Parbold, Lancashire, Dora's mother was Georgina Hill, who was the daughter of a farmer, and her father, Albert Broadbent, was a director of a small cotton bobbin mill. Dora's brother John, who she was to absolutely love and adore, had been born 3 years before her in 1920. Eventually, the mill would go bankrupt, and Albert would sell cotton bobbins door to door, with Dora often accompanying her father. The family were now living in a village near Oldham, and Dora was to say that she always thought of herself as an Oldham girl. Dora described her childhood as being a very happy one, saying they weren't poor, although they didn't have a lot of money. The children never went without, and they were always well dressed, in part because Dora's mother would make the clothes herself, and she also recalled that there was much love in the home. She also remembered around the age of 10 being taken to Manchester to see the matinee performance of Peter Pan. Dora said she came away longing to be Peter. It was the first theatre show she'd ever seen. One of Dora's strongest personality traits was that she loved to be the centre of attention, and it would be acting that would offer her that opportunity. Georgina encouraged her daughter to perform in public, and as Dora loved dancing so much as a child, her mother took her to Miss Eileen McNeil's dancing school in Oldham, where Dora became quite the shining star. It was Eileen who suggested Dora have stage training, and so she was sent to Eileen Rogan's stage school, 6 p.m. to 8:30 p.m, 3 nights a week after school. Despite her erratic schooling, Dora passed her exams and won a scholarship to grammar school, but she decided not to go. She wanted to stay at her current school and join Eileen Rogan's Drury Lane Babes instead. And so, along with 23 other girls, Dora made her first professional appearance at the age of 12 in Jack and the Beanstalk at Manchester Palace. Dora was paid 2 shillings and sixpence a week because she was chosen to do the sketches with the 2 comedians, and she said it just about covered her bus fare. By the time Dora was 14, she'd left school and was now touring, for which she was paid 7 shillings and sixpence a week for summer season in Great Yarmouth. By the age of 15, Dora applied to the newly opened Oldham Rep Theatre Club, where she was not only taken on as a student, but also as an assistant stage manager. However, this wasn't quite as glamorous as it sounded. The assistant stage manager's job consisted mostly of making props, painting scenery, and borrowing items such as cushions and ornaments for the set. Dora was also in charge of effects and recalled on one occasion, "I once managed to put on a record for a non-pianist actor at the wrong time, and he found himself nowhere near the stage piano when it suddenly started to play. He had to make a mad dash across to the piano to catch up with the action, and wasn't at all pleased with me for causing a laugh in the wrong place." One evening, 17-year-old Dora was walking back from the theatre when she passed a group of 4 youths, 3 of which whistled at Dora. She of course treated them with absolute disdain, but she said she felt that there was something interesting about the 4th boy. He reminded her of Gregory Peck. She was later to say, "I took one look at him and thought to myself, that'll do." It was the beginning of a love story that would last for 68 years, surviving heartbreak, trauma, and tragedy. The following evening, Dora went to the local Conservative Club dance with her brother, and there was that interesting boy again. Dora remembered, "I was so overcome that I could hardly speak. He was equally shy, but managed to blurt out, 'I saw you at the bus stop last night.' After I'd responded with a brilliant reply, 'Oh, did you?' we danced the rest of the quick step in almost total silence." They danced every dance after that one, and Dora called it the most wonderful night of her life. His name was Bill Lawton, and he was a professional cricketer. Dora was to say that they were to have one of the longest courtships in history, 14 years. Dora continued to gain acting experience, and during the Second World War she travelled to Italy with ENSA, the Entertainment's National Service Association, to entertain the troops, during which time Dora met Kay Kendall and her sister Kim, who were also with the concert party. Dora and Kay would become great friends, and Kay was a huge fan of Dora's work and would bring famous friends such as David Niven along to watch Dora perform at various theatres. After the war, Dora moved to London with financial help from her parents, for although she'd saved enough money, she soon caught the attention of the taxman, who asked her why she'd not been paying income tax. Dora replied that she would have been happy to if she'd known that she had to, but no one had ever asked her. The outcome was that she had a bill for £100 in back tax, which wiped out her £70 London fund and some. She had also changed her name in 1941. She decided Dora Broadbent wasn't going to look good in lights, and because her dad had bought her a trunk with the initials DB stamped on the front, she felt she ought to stay within those initials. And while chatting with her mum about it in the kitchen, there was a box of matches on the table by the famous firm Bryant and Mays, so her name became Dora Bryant. However, when she arrived for her next role in The Shining Hour in Peterborough, in the programme they'd spelled her name Dora Bryan without the T on the end. So from that day on she became Dora Bryan. Dora Bryan got her first big break at the New Lindsay Theatre in Notting Hill Gate, when her landlord, who was involved with the theatre, asked her if she could remember the part of Nancy in the play Gaslight. She could, because she'd previously played the part at Oldham Rep. He then gave her a script with instructions to read it and show up to rehearsals the next day. It was the opening night of the play, but the actress originally playing the role had fallen ill. Naturally, everyone loved Dora in the role, and her career took off from there. Dora had also been racking up film appearances. Her first credited role was in 1948's The Fallen Idol, written by Graham Greene and directed by the marvellous Sir Carol Reed. Dora played the part of Rose, a streetwalker. The two leading roles were played by Ralph Richardson and Michelle Morgan. Dora Bryan would also work with Diana Dors on several occasions, and they became great friends and would often socialise together. She appeared with Diana in 1951's Lady Godiva Rides Again as the lady in charge of publicity for the beauty contest. In 1955 she worked with Diana in As Long as They're Happy, playing the part of May, and she appeared in The Sandwich Man in 1966 alongside Diana Dors as Mrs. De Vere.
Oh, I know, you've got your pigeons and I've got my bingo, but, well, when you've been married, it's not really enough, is it?
On Sunday, the 7th of February 1954, on Dora's 31st birthday, and after their magnificently long courtship, William Lawton and Dora Bryan married at St Thomas's Church, Oldham. It was, according to Dora, a totally marvellous wedding, and a very white one, as it had been heavily snowing. Crowds had gathered outside to wish the newlyweds well, and Dora was to say that if she'd been conceited enough to believe that everyone had turned out to see her, she was soon put in her place when she saw the next day's headlines in the newspapers: Lawton weds actress that apparently gathered for the cricket star Bill. Dora's real recognition came in 1955 with the West End musical The Water Gypsies. Dora received excellent reviews the morning after it debuted, and the manager, Peter Saunders, called her. "Can you arrive there early this evening?" he inquired. "I want to show you something." She arrived early as requested. Peter met Dora and led her along Drury Lane and pointed to the front of the theatre. Glancing up, she saw the words, Dora Bryan in The Water Gypsies, in lights. Dora was to recall, "It was one of those magic moments in life that one can never capture again." Only 3 months into the run, Dora found out she was pregnant and had to leave the show. Her baby was sadly born prematurely and did not survive. Afterwards, Dora said she felt a sense of futility and devastation. She had agreed to a 52-week TV series called Our Dora, thinking that it would help her with the healing process. But the loss of the baby took a terrible toll on Dora Bryan, and her mental and emotional health deteriorated. And after the first episode was shot, the show had to be cancelled after she collapsed during filming, as she experienced the first of several nervous breakdowns. Dora Bryan was unable to work for the following 9 months. She said many years later, "I lost confidence in myself, frightened of meeting people, dreading pity. I avoided my friends and I kept away from the West End. I was taking sleeping pills to knock me out and pep-up pills to wake me up and stave off depression." Then, in 1957, Dora was working in another West End show, The Lovebirds, when she discovered she was pregnant again. Dora was determined nothing would go wrong with this pregnancy, and so she stayed in bed all day until 5 p.m, when she would then be driven to the theatre, and at 5 months pregnant she left the show. 2 months after leaving the play, tragically, history repeated itself, and Dora gave birth to a second premature baby who lived for just a few days. Before she left hospital, one of the specialists there suggested to her that she and Bill adopt a child. Dora said that Bill was wonderful and supportive, and together they decided to adopt their son, Daniel, named after an actor Dora was working with, Daniel Massey, followed by a daughter, Georgina, in 1960. Both babies arrived at the age of 6 weeks old, and Dora and Bill fell head over heels in love with their new babies. It had been a long process of tests to pass, but eventually it brought great happiness to them all. Soon after Daniel's arrival, the family moved to Brighton, a place Dora had always loved, and she would commute to London for work. She said it was like the who's who of the theatre world on the train, the Brighton Belle, because so many actors and actresses lived in Brighton and commuted to London. Sadly, Dora's father had died of cancer. Her mother had moved in with Dora and Bill not long after they'd moved to Brighton. One morning, Dora went to her mother's bedroom to check on her, as she had not appeared and was normally an early riser. But when Dora looked in, it was immediately clear something terrible had happened, and the doctor was called. Dora's mother, Georgina, had experienced a cerebral hemorrhage during the night. She was still alive, but sadly, after seeming to improve, she passed away within the week. In 1961, Dora was to reach the pinnacle of her career so far with her acclaimed performance in the fabulous film A Taste of Honey, alongside the actress Rita Tushingham. Dora played Rita's mother, Helen, a promiscuous, selfish alcoholic, and her outstanding performance won her a BAFTA award for Best Actress. Unfortunately, Dora was badly advised by her agent. When she was offered either £1,500 for the part or a percentage of the profits, he told her to take the £1,500. The film was to be a huge success, and Dora would have been extremely rich. Following her triumph in A Taste of Honey, Dora discovered she was once again pregnant. This time, as soon as the pregnancy was confirmed, Dora had a medical procedure to help ensure that the pregnancy would be successful. And on the 2nd of February 1962, the Lawtons, to their absolute delight, welcomed their healthy new baby, a son William, who weighed in at 5.5 pounds. In 1963, Dora was busy in the stage version of Gentlemen Prefer Blondes. Tragically, that Christmas, Dora lost her third baby. Career-wise, Dora was achieving success after success, and by 1966 she was starring at the Drury Lane Theatre in the title role of Hello Dolly. But personal heartache was to continue when she and Bill learned that their son Daniel had a painful and debilitating condition which would eventually cause his spine to become rigid, making walking increasingly difficult. Fortunately, much later on, he was able to have an operation which successfully dealt with the condition. In 1972, while on holiday with their 3 children in Spain, the Lawton family were involved in a serious car accident. The car had skidded on oil in the road and the car went over a steep drop. While there were no life-threatening injuries, Dora was to suffer 6 broken ribs, a broken collarbone and a broken shoulder blade, and a badly cut face. In 1975, Dora and Bill purchased Clarges, a 60-bedroom hotel in Marine Parade, opposite Brighton seafront. In 1971, the hotel had been used in Carry On at Your Convenience, and in 1973, Carry On Girls was filmed there. Dora herself made an appearance in just one Carry On movie. She appeared in Carry On Sergeant in 1958 as Nora, the ditzy cook who was obsessed with Kenneth Connors, who played the hypochondriac Horace Strong. Publicly, Dora Bryan kept up the laughter on stage, screen, television and radio, but in private it was a completely different matter. Dealing with bouts of serious depression, in 1979 Dora had another breakdown and couldn't continue working. She went into a nursing home where she received further treatment that included 6 weeks of sedation and electroconvulsive therapy. Around the same time, Dora Bryan had to face the truth. She had a severe problem with alcohol addiction, and although it was a long journey to recovery, she sought help through Alcoholics Anonymous, and Bill supported her through everything. Dora said, "I got very lonely on tour and used to order room service with a bottle of wine, which was not the answer." It was also around this time, with encouragement from Cliff Richard, that Dora began to go to church regularly and reaffirmed her faith in God, which would become a big part of her life. In the late 1980s, Dora and Bill made the decision to convert Clarges into residential apartments. They were approved for the conversion, but the economic downturn and the lengthy construction schedule put them in the red. As a result of the bank's refusal to increase their loan, they were forced into voluntary liquidation. Even though Dora had made millions throughout her career, she and Bill were left with nothing except a tiny apartment by the time the liquidators had finished. Adding another tragic chapter to the family's story, their daughter Georgina passed away as a result of alcoholism, aged just 36. The loss of their daughter was a devastating blow to Dora and Bill, one from which neither of them would fully recover. In 1995, Dora won the Laurence Olivier Award for Best Actress in a Supporting Role for The Birthday Party, and in 1996, Dora Bryan was awarded an OBE in recognition of her services to acting. Dora Bryan's later years were some of the most productive of her career. Constantly appearing on television, radio, stage and screen, some of her credits included Absolutely Fabulous, Dinner Ladies, Holby City, and after chatting with her close friend Thora Hird about the old days, Thora, who was appearing in Last of the Summer Wine, said to her friend, "I wish you were in it with me." After the thought had struck Thora, she organised it, so Dora was indeed in it with her. Dora featured in Last of the Summer Wine from 2000 to 2005, playing Thora's sister. Dora's husband Bill was becoming increasingly forgetful, so the couple went to see a specialist. The specialist sent Bill out of the room and told Dora, "I'm afraid he's got Alzheimer's." Dora said that to her this news was the end of the world. As the 2000s progressed, by 2005 Dora was also showing signs of forgetfulness and was unable to remember her lines. Work began shutting down to her, and in 2005 her role in Last of the Summer Wine came to an end and she was not asked back. Other jobs were also terminated as Dora could not process and remember the scripts. Now in their 80s, with Dora's career finally over and with no money coming in, Dora and Bill were living in a one-room apartment. And yet they were both still clearly very much in love with each other. Dora said of Bill that he was the most selfless man she knew, and that they'd been through so many sad times together, losing their babies, their parents, and coping with their son Daniel's illness. But, said Dora, as it's all been shared, it's all been easier to bear. Dora and Bill could no longer cope in their small seafront flat, and so they exchanged it for a council-funded double room at Springfield's nursing home in Hove. And it was there, on the 14th of August 2008, Bill peacefully passed away, aged 88. Bill's funeral took place at their local church, St George's, in Kemp Town. The church was packed and the service was followed by a private cremation for close family and friends. A tape was played of Dora singing the song Bill from the musical Showboat. Dora May Bryan Lawton died at the Royal Sussex County Hospital, Brighton, on July the 23rd, 2014, aged 91. Her funeral took place here at St George's Church in Kemp Town, Brighton, at 3 p.m. on Wednesday the 6th of August 2014. More than 200 people attended the service of Dora Bryan, and the chapel was full with joyous laughter in her honour. Hundreds of black and white photos of Dora were exhibited throughout the church, and a giant screen at the front of the church showed a slideshow of photos from Dora Bryan's career. The service was followed by a cremation at Downs Crematorium in Brighton. Actor Christopher Biggins, who attended the funeral, said of Dora, "She was an exceptional woman. She was fantastic, a wonderful woman, a wonderful mother. It's not often you get, in our business, a star who is so nice and is a true star. She really loved people and they loved her." A recording of Dora singing "Hello Dolly" was played as her coffin was brought into the chapel. People were singing along, clapping and cheering. Both of Dora's sons gave a eulogy, remembering happy times with both their parents growing up in Brighton. They told of how friendly and approachable their mother was, and expressed how delighted she would be if someone approached her who also had a dog. She was such an animal lover. One of her sons told a story about Dora accidentally driving her car into a charity shop and then phoning their father to say she was okay and that it did not matter because she'd seen a lovely blouse. Both of her sons also told of how proud they were of their mum. Thank you so much for joining me here today to remember the life of the wonderful actress Dora Bryan. I hope you've enjoyed this step back in time, and I look forward to seeing you in the next video.